Hello, welcome back into the LCS Challengers League. We're here for the Rally Cry halftime show, and this time around, we have some nice in-depth analysis for everyone out there. We've got Coach Keel for this one. Keel, are you ready to dive deep into some of these plays?
Yeah, let's start with the first clip, of the game.
All right, let's just dive right into it then. Let's get right into it. Go ahead, break it down.
So this is after Fierce Botlane had already died once prior. This is like the second fight where they're actually pretty close. But most importantly, the Affiliates was already flashless from their earlier death. And then Mirror just like really good timing on the gank. Because I'm sure Fear are mostly concerned with Rift Herald spawning. Probably expecting Wukong to be like clearing up, worrying about mid 2v2. But instead he just leaves his mid to 1v2 and goes for the bot gank. Which ends up being a better result because they get the 2 kills.
That's one of the two plays. Again, kind of like in game 1, where I'm like, this is what broke open the game wide for TLC. That right away, getting the early gold and kills over for Arrow, made it so that any play that was attempted by Manui and Trevor afterwards, they were at such a deficit beat that I just feel like there wasn't really much they could do.
Yeah, it's brutal. Like, Keel, as a jungler, do you expect these are the kinds of openings that Perry should be looking for, covering, just because of like how often we've seen him do this in the past?
I think it's a lot on Fierce Botlane to just be playing more respectfully for that timer. Like they have the Lantern if they need it, and like when they've only died once, their lane is still fine, they can play. But when they both get double kill like that, then it's really doomed for them.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like Perry's fault. I think being mid there is fine, looking for the 2v2. They even got a kill onto the Casio. I think it's just up to his bot lane to maybe play a little safer. Yeah, so that's my main points for Fear. And then also, they have Aphelios versus that like very tanky comp from TL. So if he falls behind early, it just feels very bad to be on Fear's side.
Yeah, we kind of saw that when Manui was still alive in the base, trying to do any damage, and Bradley's like, what damage are you doing? You haven't even touched my shield.
Bradley's just B emoting on them, yeah. The 5 B emotes from TL was very good at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do that, right? When you're ahead on a tank and you're getting hit by an ADC and you're not taking any damage, you're like, counter gameplay, right? Fun stuff.
Yeah. Tank Bradley goes crazy. That bot lane play was something, man.
Oh, that's my other point. I don't even think it matters if he's playing tanks or carries.
Sure.
But I think when TL has winning, like both mid and top solo lanes, like in winning matchups, it seems very hard for Fear because it's just a lot of pressure on their bot lane. And I think they prefer to be fighting around their top side rather than like super ganking bot lane, 3v3ing. At least with the champions they're picking this series so far.
And this is just looking at that play again, pretty much a good setup by Mir in the bot lane, making sure.
Yeah, we can go to the next clip now, yeah.
Yeah, let's get to the next clip so we can dissect that a little bit more as well, because that was just one of the 2 plays, in my opinion, that really were game breaking for Fear, that made it nigh impossible for them to come back in unless there's like absolutely egregious plays happening from TLC, and we have not seen that. This is a team that when they get ahead, they're very methodical about things. That's what I was trying to talk about. It's like they really play the paint by numbers League of Legends.
Yeah, so this next clip coming up is in the mid game where like Fear was already quite behind, but they still have the Herald. They have to like find a way to drop it, and it just TL keep using their vision timers to like run in here. Like they push wave and then they just fully run into jungle. Just being very like thoughtful about what Perry wants to do, what vision he has. Just a really good look to catch him out, which ends up allowing them to, like you see Sion just proxying top. So Perry's pretty much playing with no lanes prio, losing bot lane. Can't really do anything 1v1 either. Like it is just very hopeless for Perry. So I really like the look from TL to prioritize the vision control there. And yeah, pretty much all his lanes are just stuck under their turret. So for the future of this series, it can be a little concerning. I think Fear should really try to focus on finding a balance between scaling in the comp and having lanes that can actually win and fight. Because if like one lane goes wrong for them, like in a draft like that with their bot lane, I think the game can just become very doomed very fast.
So is there that opportunity where if they play something like this, do you think if this is the draft you go for, play more for your bot side, kind of help them get ahead in the early game, fight with them, or
I think you have to, yeah. I think just fully handhold them, make sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
And then that's why I was just scared of the Varus too, because Arrow is very known for his Varus. It's a like lane dominant champion too.
Yep.
And it was like a really good answer to what Fear were trying to do with their draft.
Yeah, it kind of goes into like what I've always known Arrow for, which is he loves to play things that will dominate in the lane phase. He's really good at that. Like, his Caitlyn is legendary for that. His Draven is even something that has been feared many times whenever Draven pops back up into the meta. These are champions that he loves to play. Jinx is a little bit more on the side of scaling into the game, but it's still something that he'll play aggressively with.
And it still pushes every lane if he wants it to, yeah.
Exactly.
Which I think is his main priority. And then we can go to the next clip whenever.
But like, kind of just touching on like a lot with how TLC have been able to win. I do like that you're making this point to possibly attack the bot lane for Fear, but then that also brings up the question, TLC, they've already been attacking the bot lane. Feels like all they have to do is rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think Fear's draft was inherently bad. Just like the way they choose to play and they enjoy playing the game, I think it's going to be very hard to execute. Okay, and then this clip, we see Bradley TP's bot lane with his already super fed bot lane. This is the ult from downtown. My one note here is I think Cassio with her prio could have considered going top. Because like when you look at it just from the outside perspective, it's like 4v3 and your team is so fed. I think Cassio can probably afford to just go top or even TP top. Because I'm just scared of, in a game state like that, giving Camille a full 3 plates to herself is like, could be one of the only ways Fear could come back in the game. But TL had enough faith in their like ability to not throw in mid game, so they were like, okay, we can give the plates, make the 5-man play, and then it ended up working. They herald the tower, and it's pretty like lights out for Fear after that herald play.
Yeah, I feel like also Faisal was still he wasn't really ahead of Bradley at that point in the game either, which is even worse. It's like you're playing the Camille into Sion, you're slightly behind, so you try to get these plates to get back into the game, but you're still behind as Camille.
Yep. And then with Camille, you just have to hope for this like late game fantasy. You get to like your 2 or 3 items, and your team has managed to hold on, and then you're like equally strong. You can like kill carries, but yeah.
Yeah, like look at where Faisal is right now on the minimap. Like that TP play happens, and he hasn't even crashed the wave yet.
Yeah, and Camille just no wave clear champ. No real response she can do other than push top and tell her team good luck. And it's gotta feel bad for everyone on Fear's side when that's the reality. I'm sure Faisal would rather be on something as well, like Cassante even, where he can like pressure, he can like match roams, he can team fight with his team, and just try not to put himself in a scenario like, again, like with Bradley on Gwen. I think he felt the same way, where it's just very low agency to play like Gwen Camille types, where you have to side lane, you have to let your team respect the timers that you have, and it seems like both teams really don't want to play that way, and I think both should try to avoid drafting in a way that they'll have to play like that.
Well, see, this is where I'm wondering if maybe Fear, the answer, since Cassante has been so important for Faisal throughout playoffs, maybe just bump up the priority. Just say, all right, we'll pick it R3.
Yeah, I think it's a really good option. I mean, they can even look to take their bot lane earlier if they want. Like, I don't really like taking the Gragas unless they just plan on matching it as a jungler. Like, I think it's okay. Just, again, I think it's too susceptible to these, like, tanky comps, and it puts a lot of pressure on bot lane. If you have Gragas in, like, mid, for example, you're just going to have a lower damage comp in general. And he's not, like, particularly strong at Dragon. You just have to have a lot of, like, perfect execution and follow-up. So I think for Fear's side, they should just focus on sticking with the draft that, like, won them the game, the draft that worked. Shoji looked very good on the Syndra, and it seemed like their whole team knew how to play around him. So I think trying to just make sure they're playing to their strengths should be a good way to have a good game for both teams, yeah.
What do you say to your team? First, I want to know your perspective as a player. Like, what do you think comms are like at this stage, where you guys are backs against the wall? It's kind of tough. What do you think it sounds like in your
in game for Fear? I mean,
yeah.
Wait, can we do it for you first? I want to do it for you first, and then get your perspective on Fear. Sorry, Bean, I'm gonna interrupt you on that one.
There's probably some point in the game where everyone knows it's kind of over, and the best thing you can do in a best of 5, just laugh. It's like, all right, well, what's our next draft, guys? Like,
yeah,
just do our best, but not much to be done. Like, you know, if I'm Maokai, I'll just like, okay, I'm sapling, I can steal Baron. But aside from that, there's not many options in the game, man.
True.
I'll throw some saplings.
Yeah.
And then for Fear, probably similar, honestly. I think like they're all level-headed. It's like, okay, it's just the best of 5. Just do our best next game. Like, as long as you're not hating on your teammates and losing trust, I think it's completely fine.
And I feel like Fear aren't that kind of team, right? I feel like it's like Wildcard. You guys all have a lot of camaraderie amongst each other. Whereas, like, that's why we saw Fear bounce back so heavily in Game 2, after suffering such a devastating loss in Game 1. And looking at Game 4, possibly could be something similar. I mean, it will really depend on the draft, I think, is really what's going to spell it out here for Fear.
Yep, I think they can just focus on stabilizing too. Like in both their losses, they've just tried to make some like very aggressive early play and then not capitalize properly, and it's kind of end up dooming themselves. So I'd like to see them just play more like cool and collected, and then if both teams are matching like 2v2s, 3v3s mid, then it'll be like anyone's game. Yeah, and TL have looked very good last. Just their play with mid jungle to support roams in the bot side.
It's like Chad agrees with you. Now it's starting to favor them slightly. Oh, never mind. The the Trevor stands are rolling in. So fear.
Hey, this is the closest I think I've seen it between the two teams.
Well, we'll see if that keeps
series.
up once we get into game. But it's true. Zakil, last thing I want to ask you too is ban Cassio or no?
I think you should just ban it, yeah, and hope that AP doesn't 1-2-3 it. Honestly, that's my real answer.
I was thinking first rotation too, just because at this point in the game, he'll just take it. Yeah. Exactly.
And then I'm hoping for Ziggs if it gets banned. Yeah, that's my final thought.
Ooh.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, that's good. That's a good shout. That's a good shout. But Gil, we're gonna ditch you for this time. Maybe we'll bring you back on for one more halftime show. But either way, we'll bring you back on after so that we can get into Game 4 with TLC 1 game away from a rematch against Cloud9 Challengers, who knocked them down into the lower bracket very early on beatdown, and they would love to get that chance yet again to face off against Cloud9.
Right, vying for that rematch. Already a team for Fear who have, expectations is a big thing, I think, for this entire series. Fear, that team, no one thought they would get this far. I think Cubby is the one who said, if you predicted this kind of a run for Cincinnati Fear, you either came from the future or I want what you're having because that's crazy. And look at what they've been able to do. Again, we talked about it at the top of the show, being that team where they believed that they could succeed as 5. Faisal said they marketed themselves as that package deal. No one bit, so Cincinnati Fear took them in, and look what they've been able to do.
I mean, pretty much proven everyone wrong, been like, hey, this is why you should have picked us all up together. And looking at the draft at the moment, we aren't seeing any adaptations from either side. In fact, same exact pairings that we saw in Game 3 here with that Varus for Arrow, expecting the Recon for Kim down. And then maybe, is that where we see the adaptation from Fear? I was talking about that Cassante, that you could pick R3 here. Even though Thresh has been something that Trevor's been doing very well
the Thresh is
so
too
far.
important.
It's just the Cassante, though, that's been so important for Faisal.
Yeah, I mean, going second rotation, as long as if Fear bans away the Cassiopeia and they remove that pick, because that's been so big for the games TL have won in games 1 and 3, I think they should be okay. So we're going to see what these next couple of bans come through. They've been really big on banning the Kennen, removing that team fight option away from Bradley and the rest of Team Liquid Challengers, the Fiora. A lot of their bans have been towards Bradley on that top side, and it's still going to be.
There it is, Kennen taken off of the table. The Fiora also something that's still there and available for Bradley. And I wonder if Fear banned that one, leaving the Cassiopeia open. I would argue it wasn't as important in game number 3 as it was in game number 1. But it is still something that is very strong for APA. And with it banned, Heel talked about the Ziggs for APA, something that is also not necessarily something people are well practiced up against that could be taken, especially with how they already have the poke from Arrow on Varus.
Yeah, so a bit of range is kind of a thing here for Fear, and that's why I'm kind of expecting them to be able to grab the Scion this time around, because of course Cassante is taken out of the picture. I said it during the last draft, you have the Cephalios, you need that big beefy front line, especially when you're playing against something like the Varus. Either make the poke not really work out or force him to go that on-hit build. So that last pick, or rather that fourth pick coming through here, you gotta imagine it's something like that. Yeah, there you go.
There it is. There's the Scion. I'm expecting Bradley now to grab either Gwen or Fiora. One of the two, something that does actually do pretty well into Scion. But it's giving more of that beefy frontline for Fear. That's why they're okay with taking Scion right now. But they don't take either. They go to the counter pack-up of Cho'Gath, and there's the Ziggs!
Yep.
There it is, with one game separating them from the lower finals and their rematch against Cloud9 Challengers. They get APA comfort yet again.
This one is tough. Wherever the Gragas goes, Fear, I think, need a little bit more in the tank when it comes to team fighting. Maybe damage, too, because you are dealing with a lot of poke. It is going to be that R5 Tristana. This is a huge one for Shochi. He's played it so often, and now he is bringing it out here, really showcasing that flexibility we've kind of praised him for. And that makes it really important because you can contest that mid push and you have a lot of DPS late game, which is what they were lacking last game.
This Tristana too. Shochi, there's two champions that have been the Shochi specials. So Tryndamere, you talked about a little bit earlier in the show, but Tristana is the other one that Shochi loves to play. And I was looking at that as a possibility because they had Gragas already drafted. You have that AP damage source that you need to. And to match the power to take down these structures quickly against Ziggs, Tristana is a great pickup here.
Yeah, so this one is tough. I mean, Keel was highlighting how Perry had a lot of issues game 3, excuse me, because of the fact that his laners didn't really have any push. Well, top lane, not really a favorable matchup for you. We already saw what happens in isolation bottom lane too, and mid is going to be highly contested here. So this early game could still be a big struggle for Cincinnati Fear, but if they make it towards that mid to late game and they make it even, Alex, we could be seeing game 5.
We could be the TLC, the reigning two-time champions, with one game separating them from another best of 5 series and one series closer to getting a repeat in the grand finals for the 4th time in a row. Would love to topple the underdog story of Cincinnati Fear, deny them what they have been so desperately trying to prove everyone wrong with. The Shochi and APA trade a lot of damage and even almost had an extended trade if Trevor had landed that hook.
Yeah, but no one's gonna blow summoners. Everyone's gonna be walking away. Oh, that's brutal.
Nice, Bradley, nice.
I think he should still be able to make it back, but it gives Mir that opportunity.
Look at Bradley, though. Bradley's not letting him.
Yeah, that's brutal.
That's very brutal, and that will give full control to APA mid lane.
Ooh, yeah. And no, Shochi's just gonna stay.
He's got to.
He used
has
both
to.
hits of the refillable pot, so already that big advantage for APA. Doesn't want to use the teleport. I mean, rightfully so. So, this should be good for the Ziggs early on, and you see the early vision game coming through here. This is what I like about the Scion, the level
Bradley,
1
look
strategies.
at Fightful right now.
That is interesting.
They both just passing ships in the night as they're both trying to play very, very aggressive gameplays against the opponent junglers, being like, hey, you're going to have a hard time clearing this out, aren't you? The only problem is Bradley did kind of assist Perry a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, that was a nice move. This is why Scion is so popular. Like, he's okay dropping a few CS to make a play like that, and he ends up having more impact. Mir's clear has been slowed down. There's going to be that window for Perry to either full clear and go straight bot, or make that transition play mid lane to alleviate some of the pressure Shochi has been feeling because of this level 1.
That level 1, going through all the refillables as you talked about as well, really gives full control over to APA in this mid lane. You can see that just initially from the wave crashing for APA. And that's kind of expected too with Tristana. You don't really have the best wave clear, at least not against the Ziggs, until a few more levels are under your belt.
And already, that early teleport coming through here is going to be forced for Shochi, really hurting that early laning phase. But ultimately, my eyes are still on Perry. He's a player who we know has been trying to improve as an early game jungle, as an aggressive jungler, and being someone who can be that carry role. He has been incredible for Cincinnati Fear this year, and on this Gragas, where he popped off in game 2, he has that ability to do so again. And when better, Magical, Fear have their backs against the wall. TLC are 1 game away from that lower finals, and Fear need to do something about it if they want that Cloud9 rematch.
Both teams want their rematch against Cloud9. Both teams sent down into the lower bracket because of them. The number 1 seed that aren't even in the grand finals just yet, having gotten defeated by Dignitas Challengers just yesterday. We would have wanted that matchup in the grand finals, but you'll take whatever rematch you can get against the team that had put you in this position in the first place.
Now, no real action so far. Bottom lane already going better for Manui and Trevor than it did in that first game. They're getting some of these advantages. And Shochi moving with his... Oh, wait. What's he... for play?
He's got rocket jump, so he'll be fine. He can always buffer that against the satchel charge. He's not too worried. Just got to get a little bit of vision on Mir, so that way Perry can look to take that Scuttle Crab. Even getting a lot of damage on Mir with the research. Wait a minute, Mir, you're not being cautious enough against Shochi on this Tristana. You have to respect Shochi's Tristana at every point.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool there. That you see the satchel charge. It reveals Wukong when he uses the W, so you know which one is which. And Perry, he's just being annoying.
He's just like, nope, no recall for you. You're gonna have a very hard time getting back and taking so much damage for it. Perry, he wants it. There's no flash.
Yeah, I mean,
He's got his flash.
Exactly.
He's got Faisal. They're waiting for the minions to crash, and there it goes. There's gonna be the barrel thrown out, waiting for the minions to crash in, even cutting the wave the best he can, but now he's taking a lot of damage from that. There's got to be very careful as they look to dive here. And again, another barrel connecting while Faisal actually gets a great trade against Bradley the whole time. There's going to be the kill.
Wow.
First blood solo, followed by Perry as Bradley gets the flash out of Faisal. And he, wait, what?
No,
Did he
it's
just execute?
It's
and
perfect.
Now Faisal fighting against Bradley, but he's a level down, so he's got to be careful. That's going to be the scream to get the silence. Looking for the knockup, not connecting as Faisal continues to kite him around, looking for his own knockup. Almost one more.
He turns it!
What? He takes down the two-time champ.
That is crazy! Fear get everything on that top side, and it's all because Shochi managed to pressure Mir and force him under this turret. And this is basically the end of a very long exchange here on this top side of the map. But the point is, Perry gets the kill because no one damaged him in the longest time, Alex. And that's great because no gold goes over. He gets a fast back, and you see Faisal buy enough time to get that level up, hit level 5, which is what he was stalling for. And now he's level 6.
Level 5 only for Bradley, too. And guess who showed up back into the top lane? Who needs to play around the bot lane? Who gives a damn when he can get fed in top lane?
And this is what Fear do. We know they play towards this top side of the map, and it's even better because keeping Mir top as long as he did removed a lot of opportunities to potentially influence that bot lane. Remember, Arrow and Kim Down had a great game 3, but that snowball was there because APA, or rather Mir helped them.
Okay, Buster Shot used onto APA. A lot of damage from those bouncing bombs out of APA. Shochi, it was a great play to initially help out Perry and Faisal top lane, but he sacrificed so much in that mid lane that APA has been able to capitalize on that has allowed that bot lane as well. Then move around. First Dragon will be secured by TLC.
And I think that's okay as Cincinnati Fear. Like I talked about how I favored them in the later game when it comes to team fights. If they're even, well, Magical, they're ahead right now. And yeah, it's 2-0 on Faisal, but there's going to be a lot of pressure on Arrow, who did go the on-hit build because of what's going on. If he doesn't get a lead, this Scion's going to be really hard to deal damage to poke out, and Faisal's going to do a really good job in that instance of being that frontliner.
Arrow will have to be very cautious with how he positions this time around.
Yeah.
A lot easier for Perry, Faisal as a duo. You got onto that backline, especially with how immobile Varus is. I'm looking. Wait. Okay, that's gonna be a Abyssal Mask. First item for Faisal.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was like, wait, what are you talking about? I mean, it's possible. Yeah, it's probably Abyssal Mask. Which I mean,
it's not Ro.
Yeah,
look, it ain't me.
That would be pretty crazy. I was like running the snare, man. Like, does that make sense? I'm like, nah, it doesn't make sense. But it's the Abyssal Mask is a pretty interesting one because I mean, you are able to remove flat MR, so it will make Perry's damage more lethal on the top side.
And also, the fact that you have to worry about APA and Bradley with the magic damage they provide, and then it's also going to be more of that like mixed damage build for Arrow, going for the Gitsus on the on-hit. Yeah. So it actually makes sense to go for the Abyssal Mask.
Yeah, no, it's a good pickup there. I like it from Faisal, and this lead ES top
Nice
side
hook. A
has
nice
set this
engage,
up.
looking for Kim Down. Should be the first casualty, but he flashed away. No, it's going to be the explosive charge that gets the kill for Shochi, and he dodges away from one more bomb. All the Rift Herald does try to reset a little bit. Trevor, he wants those hooks. You know it. Every single time he is fishing.
Yeah, you get flash out of APA and Kim Down on top of the kill, on top of the Herald, and we've seen this pattern. Oh, hold on.
Juju cutting off the retreat of Bradley, looking for the slow, waiting for Perry to show up, and Bradley's not very tanky at the moment, but tanky enough to scare them, or is he? He doesn't even get the feast. No, he does get the feast off. It just doesn't do enough to actually take anybody down. Well, Shochi's got to be careful against APA here in the mid lane. Taken low, nice use of rocket jump to get away, but the bomb could have connected. Had there been the Mega Inferno bomb, probably would have been a 1-for-1 kill across the map, favoring APA getting that kill.
Look at that health. That's got to be single digits. And I kind of want to know. It's too late. Whatever. He's gonna go back.
It's too late.
The point is, that's the one thing that's been going well for TLC, but the rest of the map, very favorable for Cincinnati Fear. Again, Minui going even, having that just quiet, calm laning phase benefits him greatly. And topside, this lead onto Faisal is so big because you are shutting Bradley out of this game. You can see how far down he is in gold and experience. And now you have a Rift Herald to play for, even though you sacked that first early Drake. Perry now has this opportunity to drop that one mid. You have this Tristana who's really good at taking turrets, and that's going to set you up perfectly. You get that early turret break. You get Shochi able to move around the map. You're going to put Fear in a great position.
We're getting to that point too, as Tristana, when you can actually compare against the Ziggs push. You can actually push back just as effectively without having to worry about getting chunked out too heavily against Ziggs. Ziggs is always great about these early games and how he can push people out of lanes, get these plates, and get these turrets. But now we're getting to that point where Shochi is slowly coming back into the game. The kill definitely going to help out with that as well.
You're right, it's going to catch up because of that bit of the CS lead we are coming through here. And I mean, Shochi, again, being able to pull out picks like this, the Tristana, the Tryndamere, have been so impactful. A big part of why Fear's drafts that we've talked about time and time again have been so strong, so influential in a lot of the the match wins they've gotten for themselves. And it's looking like it might get them that game 5 that they are fighting for here. Fear against FlyQuest got taken to 5 games and they overcame it. And if they want to go to top 3, get that rematch with Cloud9 Challengers, they need to keep this up, Alex. They have so much going for them in these early minutes. A 3K gold lead, a Rift Herald to play for, and now they can make a play for this Dragon too.
Both teams want their chance at revenge. Both teams haven't faced off against one another since back in week 1 of the spring split. It's been a long time since they've gotten to face off against one another and test the might against each of them. Here in game 4, Fear getting that early lead. We have seen this seesaw effect from game to game. TLC getting commanding leads, then Fear, then TLC again, and now here Fear as Faisal looks to fight against Bradley, coming back with Abyssal Mask, taking nearly no damage from Bradley, even getting the knockup. I wonder if he could solo bowl him. But he has a flash, so I doubt that that's going to happen, even if you're the tank. He flashed away from the Raptor. He's just going to dive him.
Oh,
He's
he got him.
What do you got, bro? You ain't got nothing on me.
Yeah, we see the Dragon. Look at Kim down.
I like that play. I like that look. They've got Perry, and they look to re-engage, but Shochi's on the other side. Minui surviving, but they're going to lose out on the bot lane as Trevor taken down 2. TLC firing back.
Kim down does it again on this Rakan. He's been playing it every game this series, and he just keeps on finding the angles, even in the games where they lose. And when they can't track this Rakan, Fear lose out on these skirmishes. And hopefully we get a replay, because that allows TLC to get another Drake stacking towards that Dragon Soul, which is going to be, wow, I think this is the 3rd Chem Soul.
It is the 3rd
That's
one
crazy.
in a row too.
Yeah, and the big thing again, you have level 6 on Kim down, Death Sentence is on cooldown because it missed, and you just immediately jump onto Perry. Remember, this Varus has that CC as well with the Chain of Corruptions, and that's a big way Arrow's been able to set up and facilitate these fights.
Which is why when we looked at TLC, we're wondering Cassiopeia or Rakan, which one you want to truly take away.
Yeah.
Because Kim Down has been playing every game, even the one in their loss, so well on this champion. The growth you talked about so many times as a player, we've seen throughout this series as well.
Oh my God.
Well, top lane, Bradley, he's getting the top lane Dyer's treatment right now. He is getting camped by Perry, who's already dying solo to Faisal. So Perry's like, you know what, I died earlier, I need a little bit of gold back.
That's right. He needs to make up for lost time. And he clearly is doing that very well. And you can see it, Kim Down taking this opportunity again. He has been all over the mid lane, all over, helping APA. 2 rookies really sticking together so far in this series. And it's been doing wonders for them here. Again, remember, Fear need this win so badly if they want to keep the playoff hopes alive, if they want to keep the rematch hopes alive against Cloud9. And so far, the early game is going well. But remember, all of that gold, basically in its entirety, is on Faisal, which matters for team fights, but
it also matters if Minui dies right here.
Oh,
You're
nice
almost getting
big
caught
work.
out. Trying to kite back the best he can away. Will do so. not burning either. Well, he didn't have either summoner. Not burning the ult either.
Yeah, so he walks away, which is a big deal, but you force him out, loses out on some gold, and you give Arrow that free space. Again, what TLC love to do. Oh,
hello, Choo Choo Train. Hello, Bradley. Shochi's like, you know what? I need some more gold too.
Yeah.
Can you lend me some, Bradley? But the rest of TLC are here to defend this time around. Flash away by Shochi, trying to get the reset with the rocket jump, but they gotta be careful. Nice use of the belly flop, getting all this damage. TLC are low, and this might have given enough time for Manu to show up.
Who's here?
Moonlight Vigil flashing away. The kill on a Bradley for Perry. As Faisal gonna be showing up at the last moment to help escort minions to the turret.
And that's going to be another Rift Herald. Cincinnati Fear, they're starting to spread the love across the rest of the map here as Shochi picks up a kill too. And that means second Rift Herald is in your pocket. This mid-tier 1 is not long for this world. And the pattern of this series has just been whoever leads in the early game is going to close things out. And so far, it's been great for Cincinnati Fear. TLC, though, of course, looking to remove that trend and see if they can get the win here in Game 4.
I do like that from Alec. The mythical 7th jungle camp. Top lane.
Yeah, true.
I mean, poor Bradley right now. But honestly, that might be the best case scenario for TLC. Because with each subsequent death, that's less gold that you're actually getting for these kills onto Bradley. While the rest of his team are doing perfectly fine. In fact, if you look across the board, they even have a lead in bot lane for Arrow. It's not large, but it is something to keep him relevant. While Faisal is the one that has all the gold for Fear.
So this is still important because remember,
ouch.
He just got here, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brutal.
Just 6 things.
Yeah. So what I was talking about too is that. Oh, you're joking. That's
this is what Keel was talking about. Why he wanted to see the Ziggs. APA. The old Aurelion Sol and Ziggs were the 2 champions, the 2 combo that everyone feared when facing off against Maryville before when he was on that team. This is a guy who knows how to play these champions through and through. The Cassiopeia is something that has been a little bit more of the recent one, the recent trend, but Ziggs has been the classic.
Right, both these mids had those unique and flexible champ pools, and we're just seeing them clash throughout the whole series. Now, that actually stalling Shochi's back was pretty important. It gave you that opportunity to push mid, take down the mid-tier 1, but because of the Herald, because of how tanky Faisal is and everyone coming back from Fear, you have to walk away and drop your mid-tier 1 as well. And it means Trevor gets to clear vision and Fear gets to stall the Dragon Soul. This is really important because you don't want to create that opportunity there for TLC to be able to just get that soul point, because in those next few minutes, things will be really tough. You need to give yourselves time to keep control of this game.
Now, both sides, mid lane, Choo Choo Train arriving into the station. And guess what station that is? That is Annihilation on APA. They've got him. There goes your bomb, your poke that you need around Dragon.
Nice and easy. A great pick from Fear, and it's Faisal again. So impactful on this champion, on this Scion, being able to land all these key ultimates, create space, and you can see it. They can't hurt him. He was in the middle of a few people in Magical, and he walks away with borderline full HP. He's so tanky, and he's gonna be that big problem for TLC. They need to be able to get around him at this point, but Fear aren't gonna let that happen. They're gonna play this one front to back.
I'm really excited to see when Faisal joins actual full-on 5v5 fights and how long it takes anybody to do real damage to Faisal.
Yeah, me too.
Like, he's already got 2 items, as you talked about. Working on getting... He hasn't even gone for shoes yet. He's just like, you know what? Screw it.
That's how you know. That's how you know you're ahead. When you're not buying shoes, you just keep on full buying items because you have the fattest backs known to man.
Yeah, he's also level 13 in this game at just shy of 19 minutes into the game. Not doing too bad here for the top lane. Faisal, someone who's been really good on a lot of these weak side top laners, but not just because he's playing them weak side. He's playing them aggressively, getting these leads, calling up carry so he can play to the fullest in a matchup that should have been, in theory, the counter matchup up against the Cho'Gath. While Shochi does get poked out pretty heavily by APA. Rocket Jump barely away from the Mega Inferno bomb, but with the TP, and guess who's here? It is the Choo Choo Train. He finds Arrow and Mirror, and look at how little damage Faisal took initially. Even with the Chain of Corruptions, now they've focused everything onto him. Now they've got real damage to stick, and now they can take him. No, they can't! Faisal still survives. The hook back, but Perry's got to be careful. They get the damage a little bit back onto Mirror, but he's going to be okay at the moment. While they look for all these flashes, the box will stop the fight and somehow beat down. Nobody falls.
It costs a lot. You see teleports come from both sides, but ultimately Faisal, he's too tanky. The Dark Passage whisked him away to safety. And that was the play that TLC almost turned around, but they're going to be happy that they walked away with the turret at the very least. It was probably the most costly turret I may have ever seen casting this game, but they got it, Magical. That's 300 gold in their pockets. Let's go.
300 gold given over to APA as well.
Oh, do it. I love it.
Okay, Fear. Okay.
Tristana,
okay.
Felios, this is going to be such a fast Baron take. They don't know.
They don't know, and Faisal is
Now
nowhere near. He doesn't have the choo-choo train. It's not even down to 50%. You've got to get there soon, TLC, if you even want to hope to stop this. They're starting to pour down, but it's too late. 25% health, Mega Inferno Bomb, not in time. That's going to be smite secured by Perry, but Manui is going to have to flash away. The pullback, and Mirror can't escape from Shochi. Pull back on Bradley, but they got the kill. They've taken down Manui. Trevor trying to escape, but the Choo Choo Train gets the flash away from Arrow. While Shochi tries to fight against Arrow, but doesn't have the damage. While APA makes sure that he dies in exchange as well. While Shochi still dead by Arrow, and Faisal, the tank, has to survive, has to get away from danger, skirting every single skill shot. His movement's insane, but it's only a matter of time before he finally shut down by Arrow.
Are you kidding me? Fear got the Baron, they got the heist, but they weren't able to walk it away, and thank you God for the instant replay, because we need to see what happened here. And really, it's the Lantern going out prematurely, not allowing Trevor to be able to save Manui. And overall, you feel good because you managed to get the kill. But it's Kim down with the big engage. And look at Arrow this whole time. He is full health. He flashes to avoid the unstoppable onslaught. And because he's able to just be chilling in this entire team fight, he's able to whittle down everyone else at the end of the day.
Yeah, and the snipe there from Arrow 2 onto Shochi. If Shochi gets the resets, that could turn it all around. A knife's edge and Arrow, the one to come out massive for TLC to bounce them back into the game, deny the Baron power play of Cincinnati Fear.
Right, and you get the upfront gold as Cincinnati Fear, but either way, getting ace like that, Fear, this gold lead they had has really gone down, and you can see it. Arrow is still ahead of Manui over, or just about 1,000 gold, and now they want to make this play onto Faisal.
Shochi will at least get some gold back across the map, the bot lane, despite not having the Baron power play anymore. They do at least still have somewhat of a lead. 3,000 gold, only one dragon behind, and with 38 seconds until the next one spawns, neither team are playing around the bottom half of the map just yet. Both of them just struggle here for that tier 1 turret top side.
Yeah, and I mean, we look at Shochi too. He's gonna get this tier 2. He knows everybody stayed pretty long towards that top side, and he's having that opportunity. Like, that's a lot of gold he just picked up.
Look
just from the turrets, 900. No one is, they're not going behind him.
No, look bot lane. There's no TP boards. There's nowhere that you can actually go and jump on to Shochi either to punish him. TP's only now also coming up for Bradley.
Yeah, and even though Shochi has the teleport, he can spend all that gold he earned, and he's going to be able to TP his way back. I'm curious how much he was able to get for himself. It's looking like he is waiting. I wonder if it's the IE full purchase. It would be, honestly...
It was the Bloodthirster.
No,
he didn't have the Bloodthirster before. It was a Bloodthirster. And now, Dragon started up by TLC. But it is going to be risky by both teams. Everyone is grouped up. Faisal leading the charge for Fear, while Perry's looking for the flank. 50% down onto Dragon. They're re-engaged. They've got Bradley. A Kim down, denied entrance. Instead looks for Perry, and they've got the damage. Mir's clone is going to be the first casualty. Not actually Mir, but he has to flash away.
He lands
it. And it's onto Arrow, but nobody could follow up onto that. Instead, turn back onto the Dragon. Look to see if they can get that and deny soul point potential for TLC.
They did it again, and the team fight, the front to back from Fear, it is too strong, especially with the lead that they have. Faisal is too tanky, he takes up too much space, and because of the forced recall, Fear will also get the mid-tier 2 turret. Oh, Perry?
Looked a little risky there. I was a little worried for Perry, but it seems that TLC were too worried themselves about Perry's damage of bursting down their low health targets. So they fall back, sacrificing more gold over to Fear as they continue to get these turrets, these objectives, and steal away all the farm in the jungle of TLC.
Yeah, you can see it. Fear have gotten that gold lead right back up to 5,000 gold. Keel said it. They'll take any fight they think that looks good, and a lot of these fights this game, despite some of them going awry, have looked good.
Uh-oh, Faisal.
Oh, Faisal.
This is not looking good for Faisal. He has TP, but he knows that it's not really a good way to get out of this one. He's been cut off from his retreat, so he'll just die while Arrow is on a rampage.
So gold on to Varus is pretty impactful, and we've said this about Fear the whole time. When you're far behind, hey, this is what you want to do. Group into a side lane. And Faisal, who is already below half health, take him out of the picture. But look at Shochi.
He's getting a lot of damage, but this time won't actually be able to get the objectives that he sought out for. Still no good wards for a TP flank out of TLC to capitalize and punish Shochi for overextending like this one. But they've got enough time at least, even if there's not really anything to fight over on the map, to at least get some control back away from Fear across the map.
Yeah, they're trying. And if you look bottom lane, you can see there's a good amount of vision there for TLC, especially in their own jungle, which is necessary for them at this point. But it's still hard. Baron is what we have our eyes set on. 40 seconds at this point. Top lane is pushed in pretty far. You have teleport on Faisal. You have teleport on Shochi soon. So you can easily send either one of them to that side lane to get that pushed out and get that set up on the top side. Because there's a world easily where Fear just pick up the Baron on spawn once again if TLC aren't careful. And that fight isn't going to happen twice unless Fear make a big mistake.
Fear right now, all grouped up mid lane. You know he's got to be a bit cautious because Kim down. Always look at Kim down on this recon and how he is playing this entire playoffs with it. Looking for the targets, the critical ones, such as Manui. Even though there's Thresh on the other side, Kim down can get that quickness on top of him, deny him from getting back to the team. That's a lot of damage taken away for Fear that they can rely on.
Right, and now the Baron is up. Mir is the one who has the flank against the 100 Thieves Challengers. He has saved the game more than once in that series with the flank angles.
2 games
around objectives. That's right, Magical. And now he is on the flank. Remember, we got to watch Kim down as well because of the engages he's been able to find.
This looks almost exactly like what he had done previously. A super blast cone as well could get him right on top of Manui and allow Kim down to follow up. It seems that Fear are playing wisely, understanding they have yet to mark where Mir was, so they fall back.
Yeah, but now TL making that wise move to basically block off the jungle and make it so that APA will be able to take this mid-tier 2. I mean, this is Ziggs we're talking about. So that turret, it's gone before I could even finish the sentence. And that's more gold for TLC. It's trying to chip away at the lead Fear have one a bit by bit.
Shochi and Perry, this is a horrible position. Rocket jump right into the middle of 2 people. He can't even grab the lantern in time to save his life. And with the pick, TLC, they've got control. Perry has no escape. That turret is not your friend. That is not salvation for you, my friend. Arrow is unstoppable as Manui lands the Moonlight Vigil and pops Kim down. Manui, you've got to be the hero. You've lost your AP carry in the jungler. You've lost the mid laner, but you've got the damage, and Cincinnati Fear understand their power.
Yeah, that was an ambitious play from Shochi. It costs him his life. No Baron will be coming through here, but as I say it, teleport, looking like TLC are making the call, and that's why Fear, they have stayed around. Manui is here, no ultimate, but you're right, Faisal is here.
There's the TP. Getting Bradley full health and TP for Shochi. 4v4, it's 50%. There's smite on Mir. He can secure this, but Faisal goes in the pit. They're looking to get it. Who's gonna grab it? It's gonna go over to Arrow, but they've lost the piece, and they've got the damage to flash away. They've got to be careful. They got to cut this one back. They didn't get the reset, but they've got Shochi's double kill. He's on top of Arrow. He's got the damage, but Arrow's huge. You can't stop him. It's up to Faisal, who's big. He's beefy. He's got the damage, but not enough to take down Arrow. but he could slow him down for Manui to maybe do it.
Oh, he got him.
APA did get Shochi. It's a shot down for Faisal. The Baron over to APA and Kim down.
Yeah, still, you secure the Baron and you get that upfront gold. Yes, that's an important fight for Fear to win, but you can see it. The gold lead is whittling down little by little, and we see the gold difference here between Arrow and Manui. He's at 3 items and change after this fight, but watch what happens here. The biggest thing is now that Shochi is here, they burst down this Cho'Gath, which is all well and good, but you still have so much damage to contend with, and as always, watch Arrow. He helps secure the Baron, and he still does so much damage. I mean, props to Mir. He actually ate that hook for Arrow, because that would have meant his death.
They're doing everything possible to make sure that Arrow is bolstered in this game. Look at that damage. It's the on-hit Varus.
Yeah.
It's not the poke. It's a lot harder for you as Tristana. Even if you're nearly even, you're still a level behind him.
Right, and oh, I didn't even see that. That's brutal.
I didn't see that either.
Yeah, we were watching Faisal get the shutdown. That's unlucky. No one ends up going for the Dragon Secura, but it looks like off-screen, Fear got it for themselves. So even though this gold lead has been going down bit by bit, Fear now have a Dragon Soul to play for and these bonus stats from 3 Chemtech Drakes.
As APA being one of 2 members on TLC to still have the Baron buff, probably one of the most important members to have that Baron buff. Topple that final tier 1 structure. Make sure they can continue to push here. Look for the tier 2.
Yeah.
Fear are not in a position to answer this, but they better get in a position to answer the inhibitor.
No, the inhibitor isn't what they're going for here, but damage is done. TLC in a really good position. Yes, the gold lead is 1,000, but we know that's on Faisal. If we take a look at the gold, you can see that Arrow is 2k up on Manui, and you look at their leads across the board, really where it matters, in mid and the bot lane. And Arrow has that opportunity again to have this huge impact, like he did on the Varus in the previous game. And now we're at a point where Fear front to back, they are going to struggle a little bit if they aren't careful.
Especially because Sochi in the side lane without TP. Gotta make sure their members are starting to group together. We look at how the gold is, and it is a nice edge. 1,400 gold here, 31 minutes into the game, is nothing.
It really isn't, especially again when you look. Arrow has the stopwatch, is building towards that 4th item, is very dangerous at this point.
If he can continue to get the damage out like he has been in these previous fights, relatively untouched, he'll carry TLC to victory and carry them into the lower finals against Cloud9 Challengers. The historic player, the veterancy that he's provided for this team, the leadership as well. Alongside these rookie players of APA and Kim down. A lot of this for TLC. It's funny because we've been hyping up these rookie players, we've been hyping up the new players to the league, but right now, this is all about Arrow.
That's right, and even talking to APA and Kim down, they told me how playing with Arrow and Mir as well has been such a good experience for them. I mean, both players actually have expressed that on their previous teams. Maryville for APA, UCI for Kim down, how they were very vocal. They had to do a lot of the talking, a lot of the shot calling. This game, they don't have to. Arrow's been a big boon for them in that regard, assisting their development so far in their rookie split.
I love it too, because Arrow and Bradley, the experience that they have together as a duo, goes back to when they played together on Wildcard when Arrow was trying to help out a lot with development here in NA and continues to do so right now. But that's going to be the pick on to Bradley, the Wildcard player that played with Arrow, taken out while APA was looking to shove down that bot lane and try to get the tier 2.
Yeah.
You got to be cautious, because right now, there's going to be 2 waves of minions crashing into your base, and if you don't get back quickly enough, that could just be the game. Look at how fast they took down that structure.
It's not about the game. They're going to go for 2 inhibitors, actually. So, yeah, you're right. APA is TPing because he realizes he needs to be here now.
Yeah, it has to be, but they already lost out on the inhibitor turret mid lane. Will lose out on 2 inhibitors quickly taken down by Fear.
Yeah, that's a big miscalculation. APA overstays, has to TP, and he can't even help wave clear to deny the take of the double inhibitors. And just in time, you see it a minute before Soul, a minute before the Baron comes up. So many objectives the TLC are going to have a hard time contesting. Yes, now you see them pushing out Vision, clearing things out, but after the backs, after the gold spent by Fear, they're going to be able to have their turn, clear out Vision on their side. On TLC side of the map and keep these waves pushed in.
Pete, look at the timers of Dragon and Baron. Dragon Soul is now on the line for Cincinnati Fear. Baron is on the line and they spawn at the exact same second for both teams. And you can see at Fear, they are putting their eggs in the basket of getting that Chemtech Soul. Soul is a soul that a Baron on top of someone like Arrow and APA could be just enough to get TLC the time to spare until Elder.
No, see, Fear know that. They're just setting up Vision so they have the eyes. They want to see, they want to confirm that TLC are on this bottom side of the map. They're teleporting. They have to. This soul is too important, and Fear are using that correctly. They're making the trade. They will get the Baron, and now they get that extra gold in their pockets. It's not even TLC's soul. So the early dragon stacking that came through for Cincinnati Fear really pays off in this moment at 35 minutes, because now you still have mid and bot pushing really hard, and Trevor and Shochi, if they catch a pick, that could be it.
With two open inhibitors, both of them gone, Super Minions pouring into the base, Baron on the heads of every member of Cincinnati Fear. A siege is inevitable. All they have to do is wait and get every lane simultaneously crashing, and you can tell that they're doing that at the moment while they work on bot lane.
Right, and the wave clear is really good. Arrow and APA, even with super Baron minions, they're fine. They're going to be able to clear this one out, but they are relegated to their side of the map. That's the dangerous part. And that's why Fear are pushing out bottom lane, keeping the entire map dark for the side of TLC. And that's crucial. If they get a pick, they have the Baron, they can close the game. But what you're really hoping for is just to whittle down this final inhibitor.
As they get so much damage, a couple auto attacks out of Manui. Take it down to 50% on the turret. So close to falling, so close to toppling, and all the while, Sochi wreaking havoc in the other lanes to make sure they crash simultaneously so they can take down the inhibitor in the bot lane.
Oh, and
Mia tries to engage onto Manui, the Faisal, and now Trevor making sure Kim down couldn't get into the back line. But they gotta be careful. Shochi took down an inhibitor. He flashed in. He's got the Nexus turret. Oh, there's a fight on the outside. Arrow has to go gold to survive. He should die. This is it. This is Fear's moment. This is their time to get Game 5 against TLC. But they gotta make sure they're still standing strong, and they will do so with a double kill from Perry. Cincinnati Fear tie up the series, tie it all up. We're going to Game 5 beatdown.
Backs against the wall, Alex, and Fear still pull out the dub once more. We're gonna get a Game 5 from this team, and they're looking for the rematch.
I'm just gonna toss it a break. That was a thrilling Game of 4. There's nothing to say. Let's get ready for our halftime show, the last one of the day with Keel. We'll see you in just a little bit.